Who's Who on the Battlefield. Nimitz. The future U.S. Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz was born near Fredericksburg, Texas on February 24, 1885. He was raised by his widowed mother and grandfather, Charles Nimitz, the most important man in his grandson's life, who was a retired captain and ran a steamboat-shaped hotel in town. As a teenager, Chester met two Army officers, and seeing it as his only way to get ahead in life, determined that he would join the military. Unfortunately, all the positions at West Point were filled that year. Hearing of his desire, Nimitz's congressman contacted the boy. He had a position open for the Naval Academy in Maryland. Nimitz eagerly studied for the entrance exam, leaving high school in 1901 to join the academy. He graduated 7th in the class of 1905. As required, he served a 2-year cruise aboard the USS Ohio in the Far East. In January 1907, after being commissioned an ensign, he took command of the USS Decatur. After running the ship aground, he was court-martialed. Yet the officer who oversaw the trial stated that Nimitz was a good officer and felt that Chester would be careful in the future. On March 20th, 1912, Nimitz was awarded the Silver Life-Saving Medal for his gallant actions in saving W. G. Walsh's life. Walsh was a Navy fireman and could not swim. When Walsh went overboard, Nimitz went into the water and kept Walsh afloat until they could be picked up. He wrote his then-girlfriend, Catherine Vance Freeman, about the incident, that he had to go swimming that day and it was awfully cold. He would marry Catherine on April 9, 1913. They had 4 children together: Catherine Vance, or Kate as she was called, Chester William Jr., nicknamed Chet, Anna Elizabeth, also known as Nancy, and Mary Manson. Their almost 53 years of marriage ended with his death at age 80. After his court-martial in 1907, Nimitz was assigned submarine duty. He served aboard the USS Plunger, Snapper, Narwhal, and Skipjack. As a lieutenant, he commanded the Atlantic Submarine Flotilla from 1912 to 1913. Next, he was transferred to the state of Connecticut to build the diesel engines aboard the USS Maumee. During the time the ship was being outfitted, Chester, as a second-generation German-American who spoke fluent German, was sent to Germany and Belgium to study European ships' engines. He would go on to serve aboard the Maumee until 1917. That year, he became the aide to the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Atlantic Subforce. In September 1918, Nimitz took a position in the office of the Chief of Naval Operations. He was also on the board of submarine designs. In 1919, he was placed on sea duty again aboard the battleship the USS South Carolina. The next year, he was sent to Pearl Harbor to build a submarine base there. Nimitz was next sent to the Naval War College, where he studied the logistics of a naval war in the Far East. He graduated to be assigned the command of Chief of Staff to Commander Battle Force. He would later credit his time at the War College as the rudder that steered the U.S. Navy through the Pacific War. In 1923, he became the Chief of Staff to Admiral S.S. Robinson, head of the U.S. Fleet. It was during this time he established NROTC at the University of California at Berkeley. As a captain, he took command of the Submarine Division 20 in 1929. Serving 2 years, he took the command of reserve destroyers at San Diego in 1931. Aboard the Augusta, he led the Asiatic Fleet on a cruise of the Orient from 1933 to 1935. His next position was in Washington, D.C., as part of the Bureau of Navigation. He left that position in 1938 with the rank of Rear Admiral. Nimitz spent the next year on sea duty as the commander of the Cruise Division 2 and then Commander Battle Division 1. In 1939, he was sent back to the capital to serve a 4-year assignment as the Chief of Bureau of Navigation. After Pearl Harbor, the President, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, chose him over 28 senior officers to go to Pearl Harbor and lead the fight against the Axis powers in the Pacific. During the Pacific War, Nimitz commanded over 2 million troops, 5,000 ships, and 20,000 planes, and directed battles such as Midway, the Battle of the Coral Sea, Iwo Jima, Okinawa, and others. In December 1944, he stepped into the newly created rank of Fleet Admiral, and it was his flagship, the USS Missouri, that sailed into Tokyo Bay on September 2, 1945, to accept the Japanese surrender. Chester officially left war duty when he departed Pearl Harbor on November 26, 1945. He became the Chief of Naval Operations on December 15, 1945, taking the position from Fleet Admiral E.J. King. On the 1st of January 1948, Nimitz became the Special Assistant to the Secretary of Navy in the Western Sea Frontier. He was nominated to serve as the plebiscite administrator for Kashmir for the United States. When the position was shut to him, he instead became a roving goodwill ambassador with the job of explaining major UN policies to the public. In 1951, President Truman assigned him the position of Chairman of International Security and Industrial Rights, and Nimitz's focus became more domestic. He participated in San Francisco city affairs. He was also instrumental in Navy and national affairs, serving as first honorary vice president and then later president of Naval Historical Foundation. Nimitz also served as the regent of the University of California for 8 years. He helped heal the rift between the U.S. and Japan by raising funds to restore the 1905 flagship of Admiral Togo, Mikasaya. The determined, optimistic, decisive, and humble Chester W. Nimitz passed away on February 28, 1966, aged 80. He was laid to rest at the Golden Gate National Cemetery, alongside Raymond Spruance and Admiral Charles Lockwood. Catherine would join him there upon her death in 1979. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also check out my other videos on the military leaders of World War II. Thanks so much for watching!